Hello there, welcome back to the channel. And today I'm looking at an FT2900R by Yaesu, which is a 2-meter only transceiver, and it belongs to a friend of mine who was borrowing my TS2000. And anyway, he decided when I had the TS2000 back, he wanted just something for 2 meters. And this is what he bought off eBay. And as he's in his 90s, I've been programming it for him, setting it up. And it's quite a impressive radio for what it is. I mean, it's fairly small. You think it's 6 inches wide, a couple of inches high, about 7 inches in depth, I think, and it, believe it or not, will produce 75 watts on high power. I think that's pretty amazing for such a compact radio as this. I mean, when I was first licensed about 40 years ago, if you had a mobile radio in those days, it would have been probably twice as big as this, and you'd be lucky to get 10 watts out of it. That's just how times have changed. But you've got 4 power settings. If I go into, press that button, that's low 1, which is 5 watts. Low 2 is 10 watts. Low 3 is 30 watts. And high is the full 75 watts. And I'm in VFO mode at the moment, so I can just tune around on 2 meters, and it also automatically switches in the repeater shift when you get to the repeater band, which is quite clever, although you can turn that off if you want to. So that's VFO mode, and then I press again, I get the memory mode. So what I've been doing is I've been programming all the local repeaters and the calling channel into the various memories, and you can also label them obviously as GB3WR down in Somerset, and that's the Swindon one, and Gloucester repeater, Clee Hills, Birmingham, Hereford, Leamington Spa, that's Aylesbury, I think, yep. JB is down in Mere, Wiltshire, and back to channel 0, which I can't seem to get rid of because I've already got that one, that frequency programmed into memory 1. But anyway, never mind about that. And if I press this again, it's got 3 settings on that one. It goes to your home channel, which you can set up to whatever you want. I just set it to 145/500 calling channel. Back to VFO again, and it's got all the usual stuff on it, volume, squelch. Seems fairly loud considering it's got an internal speaker, and fairly clear as well. And here's the microphone, which is fairly complicated really, because it's designed as a mobile radio. You can actually enter frequencies on the microphone, but as it's going to be used in a home, you don't need to do any of that obviously. And if I put it back into memory mode, where's memory mode? Right, and I can make it scan the memory channels by pressing that, one of the up and down keys on the microphone. And when it hears a signal, it'll stop, and when the signal drops, after a second or two, it'll continue scanning again. And to stop the scanning, you just press the PTT, and it doesn't go into transmit until you press a second time. So overall, for less than £100, is what he paid. I think it's a pretty decent radio, and I'm going to take it in the workshop in a minute, and we'll just give it a quick test, see if it's how sensitive it is, stuff like that, and check its power output. But I think it'll be fine. Certainly, I had it connected to an aerial, and certainly seems to receive okay. But we'll do a proper test in the workshop next. Okay, so here we are back in the workshop, and it's absolutely freezing in here. It's 9.5 degrees centigrade, about 50 Fahrenheit, and I had the heater on nearly an hour to try and warm it up, but I don't think I'll be out here very long to do these tests. And first test I'm going to do is get an idea of its receive sensitivity. I'm not going to do cyanide tests or anything like that. I just want to get a general idea of how weak a signal it can hear. And I'm injecting a signal on 145/500 at a massively strong level of -50 from my SIG-gen up there. If you can see that. But anyway, back to the radio. So -50 is going in the moment, which is an enormous signal by anybody's standards, so I'll just lower it down. And of course you've got the S meter way over to the maximum there, so we go down to that's -70 dBm. It's still full scale. That's -90 dBm, or 7 microvolts. Alright, now we should see the S meter coming down soon, I hope. That's -95. -100, which is 2 microvolts. -110, pretty weak signal. -120, and now getting a bit scratchy. It's -125 microvolts. dBm, I mean, which is 0.12 microvolts. I don't know if I can go any lower. Well, you can just about hear it still, and that is -127 dBm, or 0.1 microvolts. So I would say that's a pretty sensitive receiver in that. The only thing that I find slightly annoying is that the bar graph S meter hasn't got any markings on it. It would be nice if you had S1 to S9 or whatever on it, but such is life, I guess. And right up again. Yeah. That's 4 microvolts for full scale on the meter. So that's the sensitivity done. I'd say that's a pretty sensitive receiver. I think next I'll do frequency accuracy. I'm going to do frequency accuracy on this, and to do that I've got to go for a 30 dB power attenuator to connect to my frequency counter, and I've set it to its lowest power output as well on the radio, 5 watts. So in theory I should get 5 milliwatts coming out the other end of the power attenuator. So let's go up to the frequency counter, which I'm using is the Raycall, because I like the nice red digits on that, with a GPSDO fed into its external standard input, so I know it's going to be accurate. So if I go into transmit, well, that is quite impressive. According to that, it is only 5 Hz off frequency. That is pretty impressive, I think. That may vary with temperature. I mean, it's very cold in this workshop and the radio is mildly warm, but I don't think you could get much better than that. So that's good. And the last test I'll do, I think, is power output. Check it on the full power ranges. Okay, power test now, and I'm using now 40 dBs of attenuation because I do not want to blow up my power sensor, which is only rated at 100 milliwatts, 20 dBm, and I've compensated for that by putting an offset in on the HP RF power meter. So we go up to the HP power meter. I can hear somebody shooting up in the wood by the sounds of it. Strange things people do. Who wants to shoot things? I don't know. Anyway, it's got full power settings. I'm on the lowest at the moment. I'm not transmitting, but I will now. And it's supposed to be 5 and it's 4.9. You can't say fairer than that. So I've got to the next one, which should be 10 watts, I believe 10 watts. 9.92, yeah, no problems with that. And the next one is 30 watts. 30.1, no problems at all. And the final one is the high power, which is 75 watts, which is quite impressive for such a small radio. 74.1, yeah, I'm not complaining about that. I mean, I've got fairly thin coax on the output from the radio, RG58, you're going to get a bit of loss. I'd say that's more than good enough. And that's about it really. Good connected up to my test aerial. I'll do that, see if it gets into the various repeaters. Okay, I'm doing the power test. I've had to turn off my light in here, or one of them anyway, because it puts out so much RF noise that it just is hopeless. And the aerial I'm using is just a very simple J-pole that I use for testing in the workshop, not my main aerial, so I'm not going to get fantastic results on this antenna. It's only about 10 foot up and it's blowing a gale out there as well, so it doesn't help. So I'm just going to call through on the Swindon repeater, which is about 30 miles from here. G6B PC calling testing access WH. So that works fine, as you can see. Not a very good signal because, as I said, the aerial isn't the best. It's just for testing. If I had my main aerial connected to it, I'm sure it'd be up a lot stronger than that. Well, there we go then. That's about the end of the video. I don't know if there's anybody else on. Oh yeah, that's the repeater on top of Clee Hill, about 50 miles away. So the aerial's doing quite well to pick that up. Anyway, enough of all that. And I'm very pleased with this radio. I think the person I'm setting it up for is going to be very, very happy with it. So that's that, and bye for now.